Well, hello. Hope you're having a great day today, and we're gonna dive into a quite a awesome topic. As you might have noticed, I get to the pleasure of being in conversation with a lot of men, um, dealing with a lot of relationship issues. Um, I mentioned this in the previous video about just at different stages of relationship, a lot of things come up. And I've had the fortunate privilege over all these years to um, really start to understand masculine and feminine dynamics, understand relationship dynamics, and really, see it play out in my own marriage as well, and have my own experience of it. So I've got a great topic that I want to dive in with you today because I see a lot of the pain and the frustration and the hardship that men face when they're in relationship with women. And, it's going to occur, right? Anytime that we are in relationship with somebody, there's a potential that we're going to get hurt, that our sense of self is going to be challenged. And yet the way that we go about it as men could be better. It could be easier for us. And that's what I want to dive into today. Um, so the first place I'll start is that, a lot of men that I'm in conversation with, when they receive complaints from their woman, maybe their woman challenges them, maybe their woman gets angry with them, any of those dynamics, oftentimes what occurs is that the man, he shuts down, he folds, his sense of self-worth is challenged, and so he hides. And there can be other variations of that as well, but that's generally what's there, is like there's a real impact on the man in the relationship. And first of all, totally get it, right? Like that, it's understandable that like our ego is going to be challenged. Our sense of self is going to be challenged. But when we can actually start to understand what is the purpose of the feminine in terms of helping the masculine grow and become better, when we can start to really understand this, our life becomes so much easier with women and with relationship. And so I want to share something with you because, I'm on this journey myself in my own marriage as well. And my wife and I had a conversation last weekend about intimacy and connection in our relationship. It's a place that I feel could be better, and a place that I just feel like there could be more opportunity for us to grow in. And I brought this conversation to my wife, and, her response, I'm sure, was one of frustration on her side. And, a couple of the things that she spoke to is like, in some sense, like desire has been gone over the years. Um, you know, you don't take care of yourself as much anymore, talking about like my own physical fitness and like how that could be better. So there was almost like a challenge of my masculine qualities in a way. And so if you really sit with that for a second for yourself, imagine that you're in that scenario where, you're being told some of these areas where you're not showing up as powerfully. You've got weaknesses in these areas. How would you respond? How would you feel? And what do you think would occur from there? I want you to sit with that for a minute. So I imagine most of you would say, I'd be pretty hurt. I would be frustrated. I would maybe lash out. Maybe I would hide. And understandable, right? Because we're approaching that as that there's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with who we are as a man, which creates shame. And the invitation that I'm going to give you here is that the feminine is a beacon for our growth as a man. So in that example, the things that my wife is pointing to are actually areas that I already know that I need to grow in terms of my development as a man. I do need to be in better shape. I do need to take better care of myself and how I dress, because, that's a example of leadership and, impact in the world. That the more that I take care of those areas, it's going to help me be a better man. And it's a tough pill to swallow, to hear that from the person that you love. But that is what the feminine does, is the feminine unconsciously points us to our areas of growth. And if you're curious about more resources around this, I would check out Way of the Superior Man by David Deida and From the Core from John Wineland. Both of these guys really have a mastery of masculine feminine dynamics and communication. And that's where I've really gained a lot of this over the years. So I know a lot of you are going to be sitting there thinking like, well, do you just take that? Do you just take what's been spoken to you and allow that to be? So yeah, in a sense, there's a part of me as the man that embraces the challenge, embraces what is there that has been spoken into the space, because there's truth to it. There's truth in terms of my development, but also you have to make your own decisions, right? You have to follow your own path. And that's a part of being in your own masculine, in a sense, is ensuring that, you're not being treated badly, that you're not being berated or belittled, right? Because a lot of the times I could see that men will just take whatever is thrown at them from the woman and won't challenge back, won't speak their own truth. And so you have to be able to have the discernment to take that information, see the growth in it, but also have boundaries as well. Also be willing to speak to where it just isn't aligned. So to recap that, what I would really invite you to is be willing to listen and heed what the feminine or the woman in your life is saying. Take stock of it. If you're not doing enough around the house, if your woman is constantly in overwhelm, if you're not taking care of yourself, use that as information for your own growth. Don't make it mean anything about you, but just use it as information for your growth. And the other side of that is still being willing to speak your truth. Still being willing to stand for what you see in the relationship. Because a lot of the times what I see is that there can be a dynamic where things become conditional in the relationship, right? So, you do more for me, you take care of me, you show up differently in this way, or you build the trust with me as the man, and over time, you might get more of me. And yes, there is some truth to that, but I've seen it over and over again where that can be sort of a slippery path, where the feminine, although they're communicating that oftentimes it's really being met in the moment, right? That, I don't want to go too far into this, but that really, does any of that truly matter? And I know I'm probably making some confusion here, but oftentimes, when for example, when I hear a woman say, I just need to build trust with you over time, the opportunity is to build trust in that moment as the masculine. Over time, that's an intellectual process over time. What we're really looking at is, can you cultivate the masculine in the moment? Can you speak to the thing? Can you be courageous in the moment? Can you really stand for yourself in the moment? That's going to create trust in the moment. And that's really how we want to approach this in these dynamics. Which leads me to the last piece that I want to speak to of, again, what are we standing for as the masculine? So if you get a sense that there is a conditional love in the space, really standing for that the deeper love is the absolute. That we are two people, that if we're two people that are fundamentally creating love and connection in a relationship, that supersedes all these little things, right? So love and connection in the relationship means that we continue to foster intimacy, even if we're, frustrated with each other. We continue to foster connection even when it feels hard. We're standing for the relationship more than circumstances. So really stand for that, and that's one of the things that I even spoke to with my wife as well, is that some of these things just feel conditional. And to me, these conditional elements probably aren't fully going to change the dynamics of the relationship. And it's really about cultivating deeper connection, communication, and both people being on board. So, coming back to the main point of the video, when you can understand the feminine or the women in your life are there to help you grow in your masculine, to help you develop as a man, to help you see the areas that you're blind to for your growth, it's going to change the dynamic, because now you can just be unattached to that and just see that as a pathway for growth. That is the game changer, because then we're not getting taken out. We're not getting beaten up, or we're not getting hindered moment by moment by the emotion or, the behavior of a woman, because we have a stronger sense of self within to really direct our own lives, to really be able to direct our own path. And then the woman in your life gets to just be a part of that. So I'm going to leave you with that for now. I'd love to hear what responses you have to this. If there's anything that isn't clear to you, and let's just continue to be in conversation around this, because this is a fantastic topic, and I think one that really can make a difference in your relationships and your connection with women. Have a great day. Bye for now.